Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eliaba, and together with my colleague Henry, we work at Quantoz. So, who is Quantoz? We are a fintech company that builds that helps other companies build new financial models using blockchain technology. We started building using public-private blockchain solutions in 2015 and have always focused on the intersection between the classical financial system and blockchain technology. We are a SaaS company that abstracts the complexity of blockchain development and offers its clients software that enables them to execute and manage transactions on the Algorand and Stellar blockchain. Some of our implementations include asset tokenization, crypto brokerage and custodian services, IoT payments, and stablecoins. Today, we will present to you two of these implementations, namely asset tokenization and stablecoins, and explain how they can be brought together to create a regulatory compliant carbon savings market. But before we dive into the use case of the carbon savings market, I would like to take you through the basics of tokenizing an asset. So what does it mean to tokenize an asset? I assume by now we are all familiar with the analogy of the blockchain being a secured accounting book. Well, when we say we tokenize an asset, this means that we introduce a new line to the blockchain accounting book and we teach it to keep track of this asset. To create this in practice, we must first understand the nature of the asset that we want to tokenize. Once we understand the nature of that asset, we understand who has the right to hold it in the real world. We then record these rights on the blockchain, and then we divide them into smaller tradable units. And you might ask, so what are the benefits of tokenization? Well, basically, any transaction done on the blockchain is atomic by nature, meaning that settlement is instantaneous and there is no need for escrow accounts. Either all assets are exchanged or nothing happens. Blockchain technology allows the exchange of assets at low transaction costs when compared to the cost of international money transfers. Additionally, when you trade an asset on the blockchain, it becomes more liquid. It can be easily exchanged and made available to investors worldwide. And those investors can be anyone, meaning that there is no technical reason that would stop even the smallest investor from participating in these investment opportunities. Additionally, through Nexus, we empower you, the asset issuer, to be compliant with all regulatory requirements. The issuer, for instance, can whitelist the addresses that are allowed to hold each of the tokens he has issued. An address may only be whitelisted, as an example, after he has completed all the KYC requirements and operates within a certain geographic or economic areas. All of these transactions are monitored in real time, which in turn creates more trust and confidence in the asset itself and the issuer. We have created Nexus to serve as a connection between traditional financial systems and blockchain-enabled networks, meaning that value can flow seamlessly between those two layers while still guaranteeing regulatory compliance and traceability of the transaction. The issuer is given full control over the life cycle of his assets and can manage it throughout its life. Through Nexus, you are able to tokenize multiple assets, including fiat currencies, and we are currently in the process of acquiring an e-money license that will enable us to tokenize the euro. Nexus is certified both with ISO 27001 and ISAE 3402 Type 1. We are an API-first company, meaning that we have fine-tuned our system to be able to easily connect with traditional financial networks. And our software has been in production for 5 years and handles upwards of 200,000 transactions. Our processes have been edited, and we have built our technology on open source. Now let's talk about carbon savings. In case you are not familiar with the concept of carbon offsets, when we speak about carbon offsets, what we mean is voluntary reduction initiatives that an industry like a factory or an airliner or a transporter takes out to balance the CO2 that they produce. So how would they do that? To balance these CO2 emissions, industrialists support projects that aim to reduce or capture CO2 in the environment. The operators of these projects, such as a solar farm or a wind farm, or even a forester, can calculate how much CO2 their initiatives can actually absorb or replace. And then, and then they submit these calculations to the blockchain. The rights are then recorded on the blockchain and then divided into smaller tradable units. This whole procedure is naturally audited and checked by regulators and validators to make sure that the issuers are not issuing more carbon credits than they are allowed to. Once the tokens are approved by issuers and regulators, they can be made available for companies that wish to purchase them in order to prove that they are indeed offsetting their CO2 emissions. And now let's explain the role of stablecoins. Basically, stablecoins are digital tokens that represent a stable value. These tokens are designed to trade at parity with fiat currencies or precious metals. However, our stablecoin is a bit different. Our service offers the client a stablecoin solution that is transparent, fully backed by the euro, and most importantly, our stablecoin is fully compliant with EU regulations. The way our stablecoin works can be illustrated as follows. So the process starts when the customer sends money to the issuer. The issuer receives this money and then issues stablecoins. The issuer sends these stablecoins to the user who then receives them and is able to use them freely on the blockchain. Once, once the user once the user wishes to cash out of the system, he sends back to the issuer the coins that he still has. The issuer then burns these digital tokens, and then sends back fiat money to the customer, and thus guaranteeing the constant parity between the tokenized euros and the euros on the issuer's bank account. All right. Now let's stop and Henry, would you like to take it over for the demo?
Hello, Eli,
Yes.
can you
Yeah, we can
confirm
hear
that you
you.
can see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen and
Okay.
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. So what we see here is the view of the issuer. So the party that issues the tokenized assets, and in our case, the tokenized green assets. And as Eli explained before, the issuer is responsible for the KYC and the AML. That means that the issuer needs to check all the customers. And Nexus provides functionality here. So we can have a look at customers that are blocked. And for example, we see a person here that is blocked. Let's have a closer look at it. So apparently, the name of this person appears on the OFAC list, so that's a widely used sanction list. And it's now up to the operator, so the issuer, to decide if there is a real match or that this person can participate in the tokenized assets ecosystem. Besides the OFAC list, also the EU sanction list is included in Nexus. Also, I do have an account. Let's so this is me, and there is some information available about me. So my location, my birth date, my banking details, and I do have one wallet, and that wallet has some assets, some digital euros, some Quantoz shares, and also some tokenized green certificates. And this wallet is on my PC. So you see the three assets that I have here in my digital wallet. And I would like to buy some green tokens, but I do not have that much money. So suppose that I send money to the issuer's bank account. I send, let's say, 100 euros, and the money arrives on the issuer's bank account, and the issuer will mint the 100 euro tokens and send them to my digital wallet. So this is a on-chain transaction, and as you see, it succeeded, and I do have now the 100 euros added to my stablecoin balance. And I can immediately use this digital money to start trading digital tokens. So let me say I would like to buy some Green X tokens. Let's buy 5 tokens, and I'm very keen on buying them. So I'm willing to pay 11 euros. And the system asked me, or my wallet asked me, to confirm. So, and what's actually happening now is that my order to buy 5 green tokens is created and put on the blockchain. So let's see, it's done, and yeah, there's no orders to display. The green tokens are added to my wallet, and we see the information about the deal here. So this went very fast. I would say in less than 5 or 6 seconds. But what actually happened? So we have executed what we call a atomic swap. There were this is let's say my wallet on the left side, and I wanted to buy some assets, and I had digital money to buy these assets, and there was 1 or 2 parties that were willing to sell the green tokens for the price I offered, 11 euros. So there might be 1 or 2 or 3 orders on the blockchain, and these orders were put in what we call an envelope, and it means that my digital money transaction and the asset transaction were packed into one transaction, and they were executed into one transaction on the blockchain. So there is no man in the middle. There is no exchange or whatsoever. The complete trading of these assets and the transfer of the digital money took place on the blockchain virtually at no costs. So we can see these transactions on the blockchain. So for example, the funding of my 100 euro took a maximum of 0.2 lumen. That is the native token on the Stellar network where we executed this transaction at a price of 13 euro cents. So it's 0.2 times 13 cents, maximum of 2.6 cents this would have cost. And that makes these transactions very cheap, of course. without a middleman and executed in real time. So let's get back to the dashboard where the issuer has an instant overview of all the transactions in the system. The system comes with many reports because we are trading here financial assets, and the financial markets are heavily regulated. So regulators and other financial institutions might ask for all kinds of reports. So I can start generating, for example, this report about all the token payments in the system, and well, that can take a while. We will get notified once it's ready. The system comes with a total of 13 roles, and roles can be assigned to different people in your organization. That means that, for example, high-risk roles would only be assigned to certain people, and operators and support team only have access to data, to view data, but never can change data. There is a special rule for the auditor in the system. So an auditor is an external party that can be granted access to the system, and the auditor can generate reports without the need to ask the issuer for permission. The system also comes with a lot of documentation, and as Eli mentioned, we are an API first company, so our APIs are very well documented. So once you would like to start your own trading environment, issue your own token, and build your own ecosystem, you can use our APIs and build your own system on top of that. So let me get back to the portal, and we have a look at the settings. And especially of interest here are the token definitions. So you can use your own and define your own stablecoin, but you can also define your own asset, your own token asset. So let's see where our carbon offset token is. That's here, and this is the issuer's address. So everyone on the can check if there are no more tokens issued than there are assets that back the token. And here is some information about the validator, so the company that validates the GreenX tokens, the owner, and some information about the asset. And I can look up this information in the app. So let's get back to my portfolio, to my GreenX token, and I would like to see who is the validator. So this information about the validator is stored on the blockchain, so it can never be changed. It's immutable. So every investor can look up and find out who is the validator of this asset, but also, for example, how well the asset is doing. Yeah, for example, the price of the token, or the CO2 assets it holds in portfolio. Yeah, two more things about the system. We have an uptime of close to 100%. Every instance has a test environment where our users can test their APIs with our system, And of course, we have the production environment. That is what we call the client-facing application, where our clients communicate with their clients. That's it from my side. If you would like to read more about our asset tokenization capabilities and what we do in CO2 savings or carbon savings, you can visit our asset tokenization page, or have a look at some of our publications, including the tokenization of carbon savings. That's it from my side. Over to you, Eli.
Thank you. Now let's continue the presentation. So we have basically explained to you how with Nexus you can create carbon savings tokens on the Algorand blockchain or even the Stellar blockchain. We have explained to you how using also Nexus you can create a stablecoin that tokenizes fiat money on the Algorand or Stellar blockchain. And basically, once you combine these two approaches together, then you are able to create a regulatory compliant carbon credit market and then start offering it to institutional investors. Now, a bit about the background of Quantoz. We have been operational since 2015, and you can see we have partnered with quite a few important companies on the in public blockchain projects. We have also been very active on the enterprise blockchain projects with some very interesting companies such as Porsche, such as the Port of Rotterdam. And our team consists of 17 people. Almost all of us work from home right now, but we have our headquarters in Utrecht, the Netherlands. Our team is highly experienced and can help you create and execute the solution you are looking for. And if you're interested to learn more about asset tokenization or wish to tokenize your assets, please contact us today, whether you can reach out to me or my colleague Henry over on our email or through our website or our LinkedIn page. Thank you very much for your attention. And now let's open the floor for questions and discussions. Does
Any
anyone have
questions?
If there are no questions, then that means that our presentation was excellent and everyone understood everything. Yes, please.
Hi, Alireza.
Please, sir.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for the nice presentation. I assume the reason why no one is putting up the hands besides me, because it was really packed with information. So thank you for that. There are lots of information in that. I'm very much interested in the tokenized carbon tokens. So do you work together with certificate providers, so those who put their certificates on the project? So how do you make sure that the project, the carbon project, which is tokenized, that there's a certificate proving the quantity and quality of this carbon which is tokenized? So what is the step before? Do you have some people with whom you work together?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Alireza. Our role as Quantoz is being the provider of the technical infrastructure. So we are not in the role or in the position to validate the tokens. That's the responsibility of the issuers. And we currently have projects in the Netherlands and in Germany, where the issuers work together with a third party or are the third party themselves. Yeah, so it's just the validator can be the issuer himself. So that hopefully answers your question.
Okay, so I understand. So if an issuer would come with an certificate or with already something where it has and says, I want to have it tokenized, you would provide technological solution to do that, but you would not double check whether this issuer has a certificate, a good certificate like Vera or others. You would offer your technical solution, but the one who's buying or trading such tokenized products from your platform would need to do its own checks.
Do you mean the customer of the issuer, or?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that is the role of the investor. Yeah, so
Okay.
do your own research. I would, and I think that many people in the blockchain scene have learned the do your own research abbreviation over the last years. But what I can add is that we as a company, of course, do a proper KYB before we start working together with an issuer.
So one follow-up question. For example, this green bond which you just had in your demonstration. Let's say we have it on your platform, so I could buy it on your platform, but it is also listed on some other platform. How do you make sure that the double spending is not happening? So the same token is not sold on your platform and on some other platform. Is that something you do?
Tokens cannot be transported out of the ecosystem. So it's a closed loop ecosystem. Only the investors that have signed up with the issuer can trade the token, and also the asset that has been tokenized is hashed and becomes part of the information on the blockchain. But let's come up with an example. If I tokenized 100 hectares of forest in Indonesia, and I'll issue it on a Quantoz platform, and I would do it on a third platform in the US, it would be a criminal activity, yeah, because I would sell the CO2 savings twice, but it's not something that we as a technical provider can prevent. If someone does that on a complete other blockchain infrastructure and other investors.
Some input or feedback from a regulator or a government would be handy there, I assume. If things are regulated properly, then you name it as, or label it as a criminal act, but I don't know. If you can tokenize it on multiple platforms, I don't see it necessarily as a criminal act unless it's forbidden.
Well,
That's
if
how
you
it works,
if you sell the same asset twice, yeah,
you
so
tokenize it. You don't sell
yeah, but
it.
if you sell the
It's
if
not
you sell the
property.
token, if
You're
you
not
sell the
selling
same
property.
token,
You're selling a tokenized version of property, which is not the same because the rights reside in the property, not in the token.
yeah, but you're selling the same right twice in this case.
Yes, great.
I think the point with this carbonized tokens, I mean, I think the difficulty what we face now is these are traded OTC, and if you want to buy such carbon certificate, you have to call the dealer and you have to buy it. And I think the risk that you have double spending in such an environment where it's OTC without the blockchain is much higher if you would have it on the blockchain. So the token itself would be the certificate in the end of the day. And if the token represents the rights to offset that carbon certificate, and you use it, and on the blockchain you can see that someone has offsetted it, then the second person cannot do the same. So there is no the risk of double spending is of course getting less. It's getting lower. But what you said, Henry, you cannot prevent the issuer, so the one who's issuing the certificate, to run it on two different blockchains or two different platforms at the same time. This is something you can't do. But I think it is already good what you explained, that if it is once on the blockchain and you trade it on your platform, you immediately see the information on the blockchain that it is in the wallet of someone and someone has offsetted this tokenized carbon. Yeah.
Exactly.
And also there's the reputation factor. I mean, at the end of the day, not everything is a technological solution, but also there's a social aspect to it. So if an issuer can act improperly once, but then everyone on the market would know that like no one would buy their tokens again. And so there is, let's say, the social correction aspect as well. All right. Any more questions?
No, then I would say thank you all very much for your time, interest, and questions. And as Eli already mentioned, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us. And again, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your attention. Bye-bye.